Satsankalpa.
When you remove it, we may lose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5% of the mask every time we try to open it, right? In some cases, the ink would have worn off, so the contrast is not there, so you cannot read it. And in some cases also, if it's not stored properly, if you store it properly, nothing happens. But if you do not store it properly, sometimes you even have moss growing on the leaf, right? So when you look at that, when you actually look at how do we do this? How do we do this preservation? The question you have to ask yourself is, what are you trying to preserve? Are you trying to preserve the leaf itself, or are you trying to preserve the the image that has been embedded in that leaf? And my thing is, we should do both. We should do both. But the original manuscript itself will last only so long. So we do both. So the first thing you do is, it turns out that you can use alcohol, but we use tulsi juice, from a tulsi plant, the leaves. So it works beautifully. So what happens if you just wipe it with the tulsi juice? By the way, these are very, very meticulous, thankless jobs. Okay. And our people, I can sit and talk about all these things, but our people working there in Udupi and Bangalore, they do this every day, 8 hours, 10 hours, right? So you clean it with the tulsi juice carefully. What that does, it will bring out the contrast. Even if you cannot see it properly, it brings out the contrast. Then you have to do imaging, the thing. Now, imaging is not scanning. Scanning is one type of imaging, right? So it depends on the quality of the manuscript, right? If it's something like 200, 300 years old, for us, that's very recent, actually. So that's usually in pretty good shape. Actually, you can image it with a scanner, a good flatbed scanner. We have many of those. So you can scan that, right? But some things are not that easy. So there, what we do is we have something called multispectral imaging system. So what it does, it takes the image at many different frequencies, starting from infrared, and it keeps going up, 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 and it's capable of taking 10 images all the way up to ultraviolet, right? So this is very similar to the imaging they do in the medical field. So you basically slicing. So it turns out that different frequencies will go to different depths, right? So when you take all these things, remember the so-called writing is actually an engraving, right? So even though you cannot see it with your eyes, even if there's some moss on it or whatever, it doesn't matter. When we use this multispectral imaging system, we can image this thing at different. The engraving we can extract, so to speak, image at different depths, and then we computationally. These are all, I'm telling you in simple words, but computationally we combine all those things, and what you can read is amazing, amazing. You should come and see one of these things. If you happen to be in the Udupi area, please come and visit us. It's called Tara Prakashna, our organization. It's in a place called Pajaka, at some 10, 12 kilometers from Udupi. Reason we have chosen that place is because it is the birthplace of our Adiguru, Srimadvacharya. That's why it's there. And then after you do that, you have to do some processing of the image, right? So once you process, you say, what is that? What does processing mean? Well, here it's a very, very, very carefully it has to be done, because there'll be some noise, we in the imaging technology space, they call it salt and pepper noise. Like it's like sprinkled, right? So you have to remove all that first, carefully, making sure that you don't mess with the writing itself, right? So it's a long process. I'll skip that part. The next thing is, okay, now you have this clean digital image, right? What do you do with it? Well, we have to transfer it to a new medium, which will last for a long time, right? So this is our multispectral imaging system. By the way, you notice that there are some two leaves there and so on. This is a typical multispectral imaging output. And you may say, well, that doesn't look that great. Well, that could be read at all, before we image it. So it looks fine. So what we do is we transfer it to three different types of medium, right? The very first one is archival paper. The paper that we use is the same paper that was used in uh, the Constitution of India. It's 100% same. We get it, we source it from a company in India actually, and it's 100% cotton paper, no acid and so on. And that, and we bind it in books that you can see there. We have thousands of books like that. So I think as of now, some 3,300 manuscripts have been preserved. And it's an ongoing thing. We keep doing it. Um, so we print it on archival paper and put it in this book form. So anybody can come, open the book and read it, right? Um, the second one is 3D printing. That's something we did very recently, very, very recent. And we've been working on this for the last 1 year. Uh, 3D printing, as I'm sure many of you know, it's just building things layer by layer. So we use a special polymer, which is it's a plastic, right? Special polymer where just like the engraving thing, except we build it, vertically we build it. And the oldest Bhagavad Gita that is around, which unfortunately it's not in India, it's in England, which I went to Oxford a couple of times and got the images. So that we put it in this 3D thing, and just recently there's some video floating around in YouTube somewhere. We presented to, in my mind, it's an offering to Shri Krishna, but we gave it to the Paryai Swamiji in Udupi Krishna Matha. Recently, just during my last trip, actually. So the 3D printing is one thing we are using. The third thing is called the wafer fish, that movie that you saw. And let's see if I have, well, maybe I do, but it's basically a silicon wafer and we use semiconductor technology. So it turns out that metal, you can use aluminum, you can use gold if you want. Of course, obviously, gold is more expensive, but even aluminum will do. So there's a process called photolithography. Some of you engineers may know what I'm talking about. So using that, we actually transfer that image to the metal on silicon wafer. Now, these things can last. It has been tested. Actually, we were taken to the testing labs in New York State. They tested that, and their testing could only go up to 500 years. So they said it will last more than five. They don't know how long. They said it's more than 500 years. Uh, but the problem with it is we reduce the image. So everything is reduced, which means for to read it 500,000 years from now, they need two things, just two things. They don't need any computer or anything. They need two things. One is light, which should be available. The second thing is they need a lens because it is reduced 50 times. You need to magnify it 50 times to read it. Other than that, it's fine. Some of you saw that recently uh, the member of parliament from Bangalore South, his name is Tejasvi Surya. He had gone to meet the Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, and he presented this. And suddenly, people started calling us, and we did this a long time ago, but suddenly it's getting a lot of publicity. But anyway, whatever. In fact, just this morning, just literally a few hours ago, there's a paper, Kannada paper called Udayamani, one of the leading Kannada papers. There's a big feature article about what we do in today's paper, actually, this morning, right? So anyway, so these are the three technologies that we use. And this particular thing, right? If you look at that carefully, this is a 800-year-old manuscript. These are the original writings of Acharya Madhva. We call that Sarva Mula Grantha. And look at how clear it is to read it. And you also notice you look towards the edge, you have lost some things. It's 800 years old, right? We have lost some things. But at least whatever we can preserve, whatever is remaining, we have preserved it. This is the wafer fish that I was talking about. That entire Sarvamula Grantha has been transferred to this one single silicon wafer. Okay? This is an artifact of it's just that polymer that we use is yellow color. This is not gold or anything. This is plastic actually, right? So this is a 3D printing in plastic, and what you see there is this is not thermal, it's something else. I forget what it is. So I'll just tell you a little bit about my uh, organization. This was actually started in 2005, and two imaging experts, Dr. Raja Easton and Dr. Keith Nath, friends of mine, they are world-renowned experts in. They're the ones who saved the Dead Sea Scrolls and all those things. They came with me to Udupi, and matter of fact, this multispectral imaging and all that was their brainchild. They're the ones who told us how to do it. Because my background, one of your people, when he introduced me, he told me, I'm a chip. I used to be. I'm retired now, but I'm a chip designer. I work on designing small chips, small integrated circuits, right? So this is not my technical expertise. So they came and they helped us. And you see that this is back in those two people you see there in the saffron lake. Uh, they are actually Swamijis of two of the Ashtamatas in Udupi who are looking at that. Uh, and again, this was reported worldwide. It came in BBC, MSNBC, you name. Even in India, Times of India, and all kinds of people reported that. And as of today, we have saved 3,300 actually. That slice is over 3,300. And we've been doing this for about actually 18, 19 years now, actually 19 years. We have created two patented technologies. We have built a permanent Vedic library in Pachaka. I already told you that. Please visit. If you come to Udupi, please visit our center. The other thing also, we have formed research teams. Recently, we signed a MOU with Manipal University, and so we are funding scholars to be hired. Because it's one thing to say the manuscripts, but another thing to do research on that and publish books based on what is there. So we work with many institutions actually who are actively involved and have the resources to do these things. And so this is our signing of the MOU, which happened just 2 months ago, actually. That's the registrar of Manipal University in that black suit. And this is, I told you recently, the 3D printing thing. We did that thing that I'm handing over to the Swamiji there is the oldest written Bhagavad Gita. It's in Nevari script and it resides in Oxford University Library, Bodleian Library in Oxford, England. And this is our center. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. As you can see, you can actually see the Arabian Sea all the way at the back. And so it's a very nice facility, very good library. So we are saving this hopefully forever. And these are just a short picture of the uh, books that are there, right? So, yeah, let me stop this thing. Okay, so that's about the manuscript preservation, and we work with anybody and everybody, because uh, for us, our mission is to save jnana. That's our mission, and so anybody trying to do that, welcome to work with us. We don't want to waste time. Sometimes a lot of times people just contact us, send emails, this and the other. They actually don't do anything. They just waste our time. But people who are very serious about it and who do have access to good manuscripts. The only condition, we don't charge anything. Actually, we do it free, believe it or not. But we do have one condition. The only condition is that when we image something, we request the organization that uh, has that manuscript uh, to allow us to print it and keep it in our library for scholars to come and use. That's our only requirement. Once they're willing to sign that MOU, we're willing to work with anybody. We don't go looking for all kinds of people. There are many. I just saw somebody put about some Tanjavur thing. The thing is, we have so much work to do. Right? We have limited resources. We don't ask anybody for money, nothing. We are five trustees. The other four are my shishyas. And there's a small group of people who believe in what we do. And so we fund it ourselves, actually. We don't ask anybody for anything. But it's a not-for-profit trust. And if anybody wants to contribute, you're welcome to do that. But I would say 90, I don't know, exact percentage, but 85, 90% of the funding is self-funding, right? So that's all I have to say. I'll stop now.
Thank you for the wonderful insights and your kind words regarding Satsankalpa Foundation, Professor Mukundji. It was especially interesting to learn about the wafer fish solution, the multispectral imaging process, work of Tara Prakashna, and your overall vision for the preservation and processing of the timeless jnana, making it accessible to many. We're extremely grateful for the time you took to share your experiences and wisdom today. Namaste.
You're welcome.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable time and knowledge. It is so great to see somebody doing this great job of preserving our knowledge. Thank you once
Well,
again.
thank you very much for organizing this. I wish all of you well. I wish your foundation well. And um, let's be in touch because, we're all searching for the truth, right? At the end of the day, we're all searching. And so, as co journey people, let's help each other and let's see where it takes us. So, thank you very much.